3, 2, 1.
I'm just looking at you. Starting over. All right, so we'll transition.
I don't let the men use my tools.
We grow all types of vegetables and flowers.
Stop. Okay, so we got cameras.
Do I need to
going on.
rebate to
I'll
it?
need you to sit right there if you don't mind, officer.
Well, our role in this one has mainly been technical support. It started out with a series of conversations on how to begin a community garden.
With who?
With Justin and Nathan Picard. It was a vision that they had to kind of develop this community here. It's a traditional historic community that has over time been worn, you could say pretty worn. And so what they wanted to do is come in and revitalize it. And so the conversation with us started with how to develop a community garden and get people involved and moving around again and just sort of, change the neighborhood back.
And the name of this particular community garden is?
It's the Brady Heights Community Garden. Well, we involve children because we look at all of the statistical bad stuff about what's going to be happening in the future. And we feel like that we need to get a hold of our young people and sort of involve them in being change agents for the future generations and connecting them back to what God gave us naturally, and that's the earth, to be good stewards of it. And I think by being a good steward of the earth, they learn to be a good steward for humanity. So. Well, it was just one of those days where I was just really sort of like, oh wow, what, is anybody gonna get this? Or, kind of like one of those dark days you might go through. Well, as we were in the garden at our Alcott School garden, one of the little girls, as she was weeding and clearing the garden, she made a comment, and she said, "Mrs. Newsome, does this mean that by us growing this food here, we can do the same thing at home?" I said, "Yes, you can do the same thing at home. That's the purpose." And then she says, "Wow." She says, "Then what we're going to do is I'm going to tell my mama, and all we have to do now, if we grow our food, then my mama will have more food, more money for like meat, and that's the only thing we'll have to buy. And then, that'll help us, She just, it was just that light bulb moment, and that just brightened everything. It helped me to really know that we were on the right track, that she was getting.
Yeah, what was the age of that girl? Do you recall?
She had to be 4th grade, which was so awesome because, we've just had so many. That was just the one thing that I can remember the most. That was just, she made the connection.
So she was somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12, depending
She had
on
to
when
be
they
about
started
10
to
to
stop
12.
and all that.
Right.
Wow. A little
right.
11-year-old girl, the light bulb went on about the power and the security behind having local backyard crops.
Yes, and the way she expressed it is that she didn't know that this was something that was possible to be able to do if that garden had not been there. They never thought about food in that way before the garden was there. And so her deal was that this is real food like you get in the grocery store, but we don't have to get it in the grocery store. We could just grow it. And I'm telling you, that has really inspired us a lot, and everybody involved to go on, from stories in the garden from our children. Yes, well, we had a young man. He was 16 years old, and he had been going through troubles his whole life. He was abandoned by his mother, and his father was just let's just say he was out of it. and the children were pretty much raising themselves and eating anywhere they could. And so he got involved, with gangs, and it had gotten pretty bad. He was, at the time that we met him, he was put out of school because he just could not function, in regular social atmospheres. So, and still, trying to transition from the gang to a normal life because he was tired of the life that he was living. So we brought him in, and we had him to work on the farm and, in the field where, it was like really hot and just something very different for this young man. Well, in the midst of the garden, he just stopped for just a moment and just said, I just realized that this is the first time in my life that I feel safe. I'm not having to look over my back or just surrounded. I noticed when we go places, he was always looking around him, and just something was unusual to me. He said, "This is the first time I felt I don't have to do that. I feel safe." The food stamp program or any kind of emergency food operation is just a temporary fix. What's sustainable is what we were already given, and that was the garden. And that is the answer to food security, to economics, to peace of mind. I think the garden involves so many things that you forget until you get in that garden, until you realize, that it's the most sustainable, and it was what we were given. And going back to it is just the most natural process.
And so in some of these low income areas and projects, if people have even patio space, they can grow healthy food in pots and container gardening, even if they don't have, a tenth of an acre or something to grow stuff on. So there always is a way to grow it yourself, right?
There's always a way to grow it yourself, and that's some of the technical advice that we give out. Along with, we do a collection of pots so that people can, take and use the pot. Our organization works as an incubator to help people get started that may not be like real secure with doing a big plot like this or little boxes even. We tell people maybe start out slow, maybe a little container, and then when you feel comfortable with that, then move on to something else. And really try to plant something that you like to eat, that you would normally buy at the grocery store. And just realize the power of that seed, being able to grow that yourself. One of the things that's major is the nutrition policies that are made, on nutrition through the farm bill that we have. And we need like grassroots people being involved with those policies as they're being developed to kind of give legislators a real idea of what regular local people want and what they need. And so in that way, our organization has been real involved with, on the state level, with getting food stamps and the WIC program started here in Oklahoma. It is a national program, but we don't have it as of yet. We only have one farmer that takes the food stamps at the farmers market. And what we want to do is not just have farmers markets and all these kinds of things that feed people of a certain income level. We want it accessible to all people. And for that to happen, we do need to involve programs like WIC and food stamps. So therefore, we're one of the organizations that's really entrenched on making that happen in the state of Oklahoma. We'd like to thank you so much for being involved and from the Newsome Community Farms and the North Tulsa Eats Project. It's been a pleasure.